So Blake and I are heading into Chicago. Say hi, Blake. Hello, Blake. Heading into Chicago, do some record stores. So yeah, we're what, Logan Hardware and Dave's Records. Yeah,
Gramophone.
Yeah.
And Lori's Planet of Sound.
So, and sorry for how wobbly this is, because I'm trying to hold the camera while we're.
Is that a dig at my driving?
That is just freaking cool.
Yeah, I'm in this freaking place.
It seems to be a converted hardware store, converted into a record store, and pretty cool place. As you saw in the video, there's an arcade in the back, and it's free play. So you can, as long as you're buying something at the store, you can go back there and play video games or pinball or whatever the case may be. But a very cool record store. My friend Blake sent me an email a couple weeks ago on a Friday and said, hey, I'm going to go to, hit a bunch of record stores in Chicago tomorrow. You want to go? And a lot of times that sort of last minute thing doesn't work too well with me, but I finagled a few things and I was able to go, and I really wanted to go because I wanted to check out some of these places, especially Logan Hardware. So we did. We went in the morning, Blake and I, and that's part of what you saw in the video, us hanging out at the store and that sort of thing. And then what I'm about to do is show you some of the finds that I had there. So without further ado, I don't know how many people in the VC are familiar with the Scottish folk band Silly Wizard, but I found two Silly Wizard records. One of them, Caledonia's Hardy Sons, this one. Fantastic shape, inside and out. The seam is split on this one, but as you can tell from looking at it, it's great shape, and the vinyl's in great shape too. So I'm gonna glue the seams back together and everything, but fantastic find there. And like I said, I was thrilled to not only find one Silly Wizard record, but two Silly Wizard records. That other one is from 75 or so, and I think this one's just from 78. So, I don't know how many people are actually familiar with Andy Stewart and Johnny and Phil Cunningham, but all three of those guys were members of this band. And like I said, it's, I want to call it contemporary Scottish folk, but, contemporary, I mean, these records were recorded in the 70s, so how contemporary is that? I just mean that it's not ancient Celtic folk music, Scottish folk music. I really like these guys, though, so those are choice finds. A couple of 12-inch singles, actually several 12-inch singles. There were a surprising number of 12-inch singles at Logan Hardware. I didn't expect that. I guess I expected a lot of full-length LPs, but not so many 12-inch singles. Anyway, 12-inch single, promo 12-inch single for Echo and the Bunnymen, Bedbugs and Ballyhoo. couple different versions of Bedbugs and Ballyhoo on that. And then, really happy to find this one. This is a 12-inch single for Echo and the Bunnymen, The Cutter, from Crocodile? No, from Porcupine, which just celebrated a 30th anniversary. So anyway, yeah, really, really excited to find this with Way Out and Up We Go and Zimbo. Zimbo recorded with the Royal Burundi Drummers at the WOMAD Festival in 1982. So, and you know, a lot of times you find used records in record stores, and they'll say things like "free poster," and then you know you look inside and there's no free poster. But I was very excited because I looked inside and their poster was in there. So if you're familiar at all with the Porcupine album cover, that sort of wintry scene where the band is all in winter, looking at basically a similar kind of thing there, poster for the Cutter. So that was a cool find. I was excited about that. Another one Blake found and then handed to me was a 12-inch single for OMD's Genetic Engineering. I'm pretty sure that he was aware. I mean, I'm nuts about OMD's album Dazzle Ships. It's my favorite orchestral maneuvers in the dark album, and this is a single from that album. So I don't know if he was aware of that when he handed it to me, or just wanted me to have a OMD 12-inch single. It's a cool cover though. Not much going on in the back, but pretty happy with that one. Shriekback from the Jam Science period. 12-inch single for Mercy Dash. So, Shriekback single there. Euro single. Another 12-inch single from Renegade Soundwave. Renegade Soundwave, kind of an industrial, but dancey industrial, along the lines of maybe some of the Skinny Puppy stuff or Cabaret Voltaire, something like that. If it was possible for a band like this to have a hit, it was Probably a Robbery. And this is the 12-inch single for Probably a Robbery, with 3 different versions of Probably a Robbery on the A side, and then 3 different versions of Space Gladiator on the other side. So 1990 Mute Records. Still in the 12-inch single vein, picked up a few of them there. The Brothers in Rhythm remixes for David Bowie's Jump, They Say. Not Bowie's finest period by any means, but I'm kind of a Bowie fanatic, so anything that I can find by him that I don't have and I'm interested in, I'll pick it up. So I like the song Jump, They Say. I'm kind of interested to hear the Brothers in Rhythm remixes. Am I the only one who is reminded of New Order's Blue Monday single, the floppy disk single, when they look at this? When I first saw it, I thought that's what it was. You know, ignoring the giant David Bowie at the top there. Speaking of David Bowie, 12-inch single for Fame 90, still sealed. So, it's pretty happy with that find. Again, it's not, you know, from Bowie's best period, but I'm okay with that. And then finally, at Logan Hardware, what certainly was the prize find of the trip to Logan Hardware, but probably also the prize find of the entire trip. Maybe. You may have heard me talk about this band before. I absolutely adore this band. I absolutely adore this particular album by this band. Talk Talk, Color of Spring, the middle album for them, the third of 5 albums for them. And this is the transitional one. This is one where they sort of were going from a synth pop band to the more esoteric post-rocky kind of thing that they did in their last couple albums. But anyway, I spotted this and I thought, oh, cool, a Japanese pressing of The Color of Spring, and I was excited about that. And then I flipped it over. And when I flipped it over, I saw that this was inside with the other record. So I mean, it's definitely a Japanese pressing of The Color of Spring, and then there's this bonus disc on marbled purple vinyl that has 3 bonus tracks that were basically B-sides to singles that came from that album, and then on the other side 3 tracks from the Live at Montreux recording, which as far as I know was only released on DVD. Fabulous show. I think this was the last time they ever toured, was on this tour right here for this album. But very, very excited to find that. I have since discovered, Blake kind of sent me a tip about this after we got back, and I have since discovered that this is categorized as unofficial. So we're talking about counterfeit Japanese pressing or a replica Japanese pressing. I don't like to use the term bootleg when it comes to stuff like this, because to me bootleg is, recording of a live show of some sort, and usually not a very good recording of a live show. And I am pleased to report that the sound quality of this is excellent. I don't have the original Japanese pressing of this album to compare it to, so I'm not going to sit here and claim that it sounds every bit as good as the real Japanese pressing. But I'm pretty pleased with that. They did an immaculate job with the reproduction. I mean, it's got the same catalog number, the same label look. The OBI strip looks exactly the same. It's pressed on high quality vinyl. It's in a high quality jacket. This thing is at least 150 gram, if not 180 gram vinyl. Just a fantastic package. I was really, really happy to find this. A little bit disappointed, I suppose, when I found out that it was unofficial, but man, I'm not disappointed at all. I love this thing. I think it's a fantastic find. I'll just do one more real quick in this video, and then cut it off and do the other stores in another video. When we were at Logan Hardware, Blake struck up a conversation with a guy that was running the store that day, and this guy, told him what we were up to, and we're driving around going to Chicago record stores, and this guy told us of 2 other record stores, one of them nearby and the other one pretty far away. So since the other one was fairly nearby, I mean, we're talking a couple blocks away, we decided to go to this one. It was called Village Records, and a much smaller store compared to Logan Hardware. But still, I mean, they had some pretty interesting stuff in the store, and the owner, once we got to talking to him about music and everything, it was just kind of fantastic. I mean, the guy's was sort of, had his finger on the pulse of music in Chicago for a while there. Apparently, he was telling us a story where he got Al Jorgensen of Ministry his first job at a record store in Chicago. And, sometimes you hear stuff like that and you're kind of like, yeah, right, you did. And then at some point or another in conversation, he pointed to a picture on the wall, and there's this picture on the wall of an incredibly young Al Jorgensen, and next to him is a guy who's just as young, and it's the guy that owns, it's a younger version of the guy that's standing there in front of us telling us this story. So that was pretty cool. We ended up talking to him for a little while about Chicago and music and that sort of thing. Record stores that have come and gone, that sort of thing. Again, his store was kind of small, and the stock was kind of small. Not a lot there. I found a few things, and Blake found a few things, but certainly nothing like at Logan Hardware. Blake grabbed this for me. It's a 12-inch single for the song Breakdown from One Dove. Blake actually turned me on to One Dove in the first place. They're kind of like Kind of like a trip-hoppy thing, female lead singer kind of thing. You know, Portishead, Hooverphonic, that sort of thing. I won't say that they're in the same league as a band like Portishead, but Hooverphonic, I'd say, yeah. Anyway, 12-inch single for Breakdown. And then another 12-inch single. This one for Big Country's Fields of Fire. I'm not a huge or rabid Big Country fan. I really like the band a lot. I guess I feel like maybe I should like them more because I'm Scottish. But I really like the band a lot. Absolutely adore their first album. I have their first album. I had a bunch of 12-inch singles for that, and then I got rid of them when I started getting rid of some vinyl back in the late 80s and early 90s. So anyway, happy to have this in the collection again. At some point or another, I had a Fields of Fire 12-inch single, so it's kind of a nice find. Don't have too much more from them. I've got a couple other Big Country albums, but really, I mean, when I want to listen to that band, I'll go back to stuff from the first album, from The Crossing. And then one more record at Village Records. John Martin, a mid-80s release, 1985, from John Martin, called Sapphire. I really like John Martin. I've got 3 or 4 of his records, a lot more on CD. But I didn't have this one, so spotted that, picked it up right away. So that was the first sort of half, maybe the first third of our trip to Chicago. I'll talk about some of the other record stores in the next video, so stay tuned.